when I first saw these upper gears. I was close ordering a replacement part because there are dents all around. Hello everybody and welcome to day 39 of my S-Type project. After having disassembled the A, B and E clutch last time, I'm now working towards the rear of the transmission, and the next component to inspect is the C brake drum. This drum can spin since it's locked to the housing, so it can act as a center support. That means it keeps all the shafts, input shaft, output shaft, intermediate shaft, aligned to the housing properly. I already spoke about these 4 holes in one of my last videos. Here the trans fluid enters the housing to actuate each of the clutches, and to get this drum, the center support out, I first had to pull out the 4 rubber seals. When taking the unit apart, I have mistaken the snap ring here inside for the one holding the center support in place, and that's why the clutch back is removed already. To actually pull the center support out of the housing, I had to put the snap ring back to be able to grab onto something. The clutch back consists of 1 spacer, 5 steels and 4 double-sided frictions in between. All the plates look quite okay, but of course they will be replaced. There's not much to do on the drum itself besides again taking out the snap ring. The bearing race here inside doesn't spin 100% smooth, so I think there's some contamination and I will have to clean this up. The next part to take a closer look at is the planetary assembly. This is a so-called Ravino gear set with 2 sets of planetary gears above each other and 2 sun gears spinning in the opposite direction, as you can see. When I first saw these upper gears, I was close ordering a replacement part because there are dents all around, and all the pictures I found in the net show perfectly flat gears without any dents. But in between I recognized that the sun gear also is dented, so obviously these dents are intentionally made, obviously to catch fluid and improve lubrication of the gear set as a whole. The gear set seems in perfect condition and absolutely clean. So the only thing I will do here is I will wrap this into plastic to keep it from contamination. The clutch back, this is the so-called D brake that locks the planetary carrier to the housing. These clutches will be changed out. I have 1 spacer here, then 7 steels and 6 double-sided frictions in between. Finally, the transmission output shaft attached to a drum that surrounds the planetary assembly with a ring gear. The output shaft rides on a roller bearing mounted in the tail of the transmission housing. There's a big spacer on the inside, a smaller spacer on the outside of this bearing. and the transmission output flange is then mounted this way. I will now try to separate the output shaft from this drum. Again, they use a snap ring here. And voila! Now it's up to inspecting the oil pump, and therefore the pump assembly here in the middle has to be separated from the stator. I left this over for today because I first wanted to go for such a manual impact driver. The bolts used here are 27 Torx, and you know which problems I had getting this out around the oil pan. And to prevent the heads stripping, this is the perfect tool. The assembly is now resting here quite stable. Let's give it a try. Seems that I missed out on this one. Yes, in fact I did. Now it starts turning. Yes. Now I fully take out the bolts. And here is our oil pump. The whole surface looks a little bit pitted here, but I think that's how it's meant to be, and there are minor scratches, but nothing I could feel. Let's take a look at the pump gears. And these also look fine, as well as the surface inside here. Notice that on both pump gears the upper side is marked with a little square. The inner pump gear is directly driven by the torque converter housing that is directly driven by the crankshaft, so higher engine RPM will lead to an increase of wear inside the transmission oil pump. Of course, the oil pump assembly will be cleaned up and lubricated with new transmission fluid, and furthermore I will have to change out the seal here at the outside. Another O-ring sealing the oil pump assembly to the stator. This big O-ring that seals the stator towards the transmission housing. And finally, this bushing will have to be changed. Maybe also these two metal sealing rings, as long as they come with the overhaul kit. I will start with the actual transmission rebuild next time. As soon as part 40 is online, it will be linked right here. In between, you may want to watch some of my previous content. The S-Type playlist is accessible directly from the end screen. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. See you back on my channel. Goodbye.